I'm Scott Hughes. I'm the architectural rep actually for National Gypsum. We do this presentation that you're going to see here to architects. So we're trying to get what you're going to see today specified commercially, and then of course residential architects as well to do that. But I actually live in Philadelphia, so I'm not very close by. A little bit closer to home here is Tony Visconti. Tony is our local rep, lives in Norwood, just south of Boston there, but he handles all of Massachusetts for the most part. So he is very local as well. Dave Keeney is specialized in our cement board business. We are a gypsum company. 80% of what we do is gypsum, but we do have a significant portion of our business is the cement board. So Dave solely handles that from an architect to a contractor to a job site basis. So ask questions as we go. This does not take the whole 45 minutes, so interrupt me. Don't try to remember it, just ask and we'll have a conversation as we go through. So no architects, right? So I can actually skip a few of those housekeeping things. So what I'll do is I'll give you a brief background on how we manufacture cement board. National Gypsum is a component of the system we're going to talk about today. That's all we are. Laticrete has actually got a big part of it, and of course whatever stone or thin brick you all pick, it will be the other parts. Bottom line though for the presentation is this is very simple to install. You can see there's not a lot of steps. It goes very quick to show you the steps. And it is a warranted system by Laticrete. So they actually will warrant the adhesion of your stones. I think it's 15 years. Is that what it is?
15 years, and it goes up to 25.
So there's options and things you can do to get a long adhesion warranty. So that's kind of the key. So we'll start with just a quick background. We'll get into the veneer. I do want to just talk briefly to you about stucco on top of this as well, because you're going to have projects where it's stucco on the top and maybe the thin stone on the bottom. So I'm going to show you how it's really easy to transition between the two with the same sheathing that's on the board. So we'll spend a little bit on that. I won't spend a whole lot of time on the codes. The architects care a lot more about the codes, but I will highlight a few things when we get to that point. So really, cement board can be used both inside the building as well as outside the building. So cement board was originally developed as tile lacquer. That's kind of its first use, but it is very durable material. Since the 80s, we've actually started to put it on the outside. It went away for a little while in the 90s. In about 2005 or so, it has come back with a vengeance, and I'll kind of explain that as we go through. Cement board as an exterior sheathing and adhering things to it started really up in Canada. So it's worked its way south, and we have several projects in New England, New Jersey, and Mid-Atlantic, well, all over the country actually, with this. So it's been around for a while. So what I just changed these batteries. Oh, it's off, that's why. There we go. So how we manufacture cement board. There are three major manufacturers, as I mentioned. We all do it very similarly, but actually you take cement, you stick it in this huge mixer, we add water, sand, and everybody has their own unique formulas, so there are a few things that are different. For instance, in this board, you'll see those white specks. That's expanded polystyrene foam, so it actually lightens up the cement board. It still has weight to it, but it lightens it up a little bit. So we mix all of these things together, and we actually just plop it out on a conveyor belt. The conveyor belt actually has a fiberglass mesh facer, and it plops it out. We squeeze it down to whatever thickness we're making that day, and we have several different thicknesses, with the other mesh coming from the top, and it just forms a thickness of a board. So it's 4 foot wide at this time, it's just a continuous board. So it runs through a kiln, takes about 15 minutes to get through the kiln. It's very slow, and it cooks it, bakes it basically. Once it comes out the other side of the kiln, about 15 minutes, we can actually cut it to whatever length we're making that day. We cut it really close, we don't cut it exact, but we cut it really close, and then they spin it around and they manipulate it, and they can actually start to stack it. Eventually, they fine-tune the trimming of it, but it can be stacked within about 20 minutes. Now, we don't ship it right away because it's cement. It does need to cure a little bit more, so we do keep it in the warehouse for 7 days. Then we ship it out to the job sites. So it's really, we're all familiar with drywall. Everybody's hung drywall before, so it's like you have gypsum rock with paper on either side. Well, this is cement with a fiberglass mesh on either side. When we go downstairs, and I'll pass some samples when it's time, you'll see the mesh. You can kind of see the outlines of that mesh. That's good for now, right? Oh, unaffected by moisture. One more point. We can take, so I have samples of 2 of the 3 boards here, and we can take these boards, throw them in the pool in the spring, let them sit in our backyard pool all summer long. When we're ready to close the pool, pull them out, and they're just as hard as the day I put them in there. Now, they will be saturated, so that's an issue, and we will deal with that as we go through today. But the point is, structurally, it's still very durable, very hard. So it's a great product for using as both interior tile lacquer as well as exteriors for what we'll talk about. First tile lacquer product was actually developed by a contractor. Paul Dinkle was his name. He was looking for a way to lay tile faster. There was a housing boom back in the late 50s, early 60s, and he came up with this idea of a 3x5 piece of cement board that I can put on the floor and I can start sticking my tile right to that. And it just sped up construction for him. He had patents all the way till the early 80s. In the early 80s, by the way, the first generation, that's called Wonderboard, so Wonderboard still exists today. Then Duroc came out from USG as a competitive product in the early 80s. So the first one is going to be here, and then Duroc, as well as my third that I'll talk about, the PermaBase, is there. They're very similar. That came out, Duroc, to compete, and what they did is they actually did a little bit better job of coating the edges. And then the third generation came out in 1999, and that was the reinforced edge. So the picture is of Duroc, and you can see there's some voids here. That's kind of, not Duroc, it's Wonderboard. This is Wonderboard, so there's a few voids here. They do a little bit better job now of covering that, but the issue for you all is if you get your fastener too close to the edge, you're going to blow out that edge. And if you blow out the edge, you don't have any holding pattern, right? So it will vibrate, move, and then tile cracks on the interior, right? And it would be a problem for the exterior as well. So what USG did with Duroc is they actually came up with a nice coated edge, and now they actually put a fabric on their edge. So this fabric will hold the fastener a lot better. You can actually pinch it. So if you have to toenail your screw or your nail into the stud, you can actually do that and still have holding power with it. So that was the big advantage of that. And then PermaBase, which is our product from National Gypsum, was actually the original ones that came out with that. But we also, I can't see it in that picture, but you can also see in that sample that came around, it's all of the expanded polystyrene beads that are in it. These expanded polystyrene beads lighten us up and they make it so that you all can score and snap it like a piece of drywall with a standard utility knife. Don't need a saw to cut this. You do need special blades for the other two products. They're very difficult to cut. And when you score and snap this, it's a straight cut just like going through drywall. It really is.
How does the weight to yours compare to those?
Very close. Everybody's super close. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, they're between 2.8 and 3 pounds per square foot, so that's close.
So you're all comparing.
Yeah, when you get into a 1/4 inch, it's a lot lighter. There's a little difference, but the 1/2 inch 4x8. Duroc and PermaBase are the only two that make 4x8s also. And we have an exterior warranty. They do, but they're not really into it yet. And Wonderboard does. Wonderboard now does not make a 1/2 inch. They only make a set 5/16.
So a quick chart to compare all three. So the most important thing for our discussion today is water absorption. Okay, there's several reasons for that, so that's our first line item. So Wonderboard 12 to 18%. So cement, it sucks up moisture, right? It's just going to do that. 15%, I believe, they report maybe 12% now, something in that range, so I should probably change my number to 12% for Duroc. And then we're 8% because of those expanded polystyrene beads. They don't absorb moisture, so we don't absorb it as much. That's key for two reasons. When you're setting tile with thin set, it doesn't suck all the moisture of the thin set into the boards really quick, number one. Number two, as we get into the exteriors, we're going to be applying an air and moisture barrier to our cement board before sticking stone, and we don't suck all of that into the board when you don't get the coverage rate. The air and moisture barrier is expensive. It's not a cheap 5-gallon bucket, so you want to make sure you get the coverage rates. When using these products, you're not going to get quite the same coverage rate as here. To get the 25-year warranties with Laticrete, they require our cement board for that very reason. And maybe the 15, we'll have to ask. I'm not sure about the 15.
You'll see the display downstairs with the airborne barrier on our board. So there's a 2-coat system. So once this is over, we'll be going downstairs.
Dave was talking a little bit about the thicknesses here. So Wonderboard is 1/4 inch 7/16, and the other two we have 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 5/8. 1/4 inch is for countertops only and floors over a subfloor or over plywood. That's it. We don't want you to use 1/4 inch on the walls or the ceiling. Okay. Walls, 1/2 inch is all you need to do. So everything you're going to see in my literature is 1/2 inch. All the examples we use is 1/2 inch. We have a 5/8 available, but you don't need it for any specific reason other than you've got 5/8 drywall and you want to have a very smooth transition to the 5/8 cement board. But if you're sticking tile, that's not that big of a deal anyway. But anyway, so we have it available, but as far as codes, fire-rated wall assemblies, those kinds of things, we only need 1/2-inch board to pass our 1 and 2 hour fire-rated walls. One of the key things about it, though, is we do require the use of mineral wool in the cavity of the studs. So this is more of a commercial application, but if, sorry, the phone just kept ringing. If you have a 1/2-inch drywall, we have the mineral wool, metal studs, and then the 5/8 type X for a 1 hour wall. When you do commercial work 2 hour walls, we just have to double up the 5/8 X on one side. We use the 5/8 X mold and moisture resistant board now. That's the purple is kind of indicating that with the 1/2-inch cement board, and we stick our tile to that. So on the inside of the bathrooms where you're getting wet, or the bathrooms itself, basements, we have the mold and mildew resistant standard drywall products now. Green board's gone, just the regular drywall that just had a wax emulsion on it, we don't make that anymore. So for bathrooms, any area you're concerned about mold, go ahead and buy the mold and mildew resistant drywalls too, just a little side note, but that's what we're showing now. And there's wood application too, if you need a fire rated with wood, we have those as well. So, quick and easy, you can actually put the cement board right to the studs. We treat the joints of our cement board, as you saw those samples, they're almost tapered edged like drywall. I mean, they do have a little bit of a tapered edge to them. So you fill that with whatever you're sticking in the tile and a 2-inch wide fiberglass mesh tape, which anybody sells. You don't have to use ours, you can use anybody's you want. And then just embed that with whatever you're setting the tile. Once you step out of the shower, you're not going to, the wet area is not there, then we can go to our mold and mildew resistant drywall, paint it, tile it, whatever you want to do here. So there's a few more steps, of course, for detailing and caulking, but just kind of general, it's quick and easy to install.
Let me make a note also. You don't need the gypsum all the way down. You just need the backer board right to the studs, and it's showing that the shower will be here, so they put the gypsum above the stud. Most tile contractors would take the board and go all the way up. So the slide looks like you have gypsum, and then our board for interior, you can take the backer board and put it right to the studs.
So, versatility of cement board, interior, outside, we can do it for all kinds of fun things. Somebody's pretty cool bathroom. Cement board everywhere that it's going to be wet, and the floor, and then where you step out of the shower there or out of the tub, you don't need the cement board, you go with the mold and mildew resistant drywalls. So, it's a quick slide to show you that. That's it for the inside. So, what you're all here for is more of the outside, but it's, wanted to give you a little bit of background on the product itself. It's been around a long time. So most of this is actually commercial, you're going to see today, but everything applies residential, and I'll make sure I point that out as we go through, so there's no difference between the two. What we propose over the next 20 minutes or so is getting rid of the traditional way of putting up thin stone or thin brick, which is sheathing, 15-pound felt, a couple layers, we staple hammer that up, we put holes through our felt when we do that, then we put up our diamond lath, or our mesh, or wire, attach that with nails, we're putting more holes in our water barrier, then we mix up on the job site our base coat, set it into the diamond lath, and we have to let it cure for 72 hours, and we're using a type S or type N mortar for that. Then we come back, and we lick and stick, right? So we stick our stones with the type S or type N mortar and put it up there. Over the years, it's got a bad rap because the stones tend to pop off with building movement. So in residential, it's over garage doors. The garage up, down, door up and down, we've got a lot of movement in that wall. Anywhere there's a door, opening and closing, walls move, right? Buildings move for that matter. They settle and they move, and we get pops. So what we're proposing is to get rid of, you need a weather barrier, but we're not going to use this weather barrier, and we're going to get rid of all of this. And with the cement board now becomes the lath and scratch coat. Replaces the fact that you've got to mix it up on a job site. You can't work if it's 25 degrees, and in this neck of the woods, it's 25 degrees a lot more than it is where I live in Philly, right? So you've got temperature issues. Won't have that with that. So we replace the cement board, and it becomes the mechanical bond for our stone. So quick, easy, and in one picture, we're going to walk through it, but in one picture, this is all the steps. There's not a lot of, we have details for penetrations and all windows and all of those. We have the details on how to do that, but this is it. There's not a whole lot to it. All right. What we try to prevent is this. So if Lath, easy for me to say, if Lath is not properly encapsulated, or something happened in the rain and they're working in the rain, whatever it is, we can get rust and nothing can stick to rust, right? So that caused a lot of the pops over time. Water got back there, it can freeze, and then it will pop a stone. So we've got to make sure that that's fully cured. It's not an issue with the cement board because it's already made. It comes on a tractor trailer truck, and it's delivered, and you start hanging it as soon as it shows up. Now, we don't. Building movement for sure caused this, and then we just have things falling off the wall here. So that's just little pieces at a time start falling, because a type S and a type N mortar, as you know, is all about stacking. It's putting one cement block on top of another one and not compressing it to flat, like if it was butter, right? So it's all about compressive strength, nothing to do with hanging. Although it'll adhere, it's not about that. They didn't design it for that. So what we use and replace all of that with is the polymer modified adhesives, which Laticrete is going to demo downstairs when we're done here. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So in the simplest of charts, the cement board masonry veneer, we call it. Laticrete calls it MVIS, so masonry veneer installation system. I think I stands for yeah. So we call it generically, because we work with other folks too, cement board masonry veneer. Okay, and then the traditional way. So factory components, the PermaBase is obviously made in a factory, and then the Laticrete material is only mixed with water. That's it. You'll see that downstairs. Quick and easy. There's no other ingredients you need on your job site for that. Anybody can install it, okay? Anybody can install it. And you have no temperature issues with the PermaBase. Now you do with the Laticrete. I think that's 50 degrees and rising, or 40, whatever. 40. They'll tell us 40. But as far as getting the sheathing up, you can work in the misty 20-degree weather. It's not an issue for the cement board. This is a little dramatic picture here, a little over the top. But you get the point, right? You don't need that. You got a nice stack of material comes off of the flatbed, and you just start pulling it off and sticking it on the wall. Now, it is not the primary sheathing, okay? It is a secondary sheathing. You still need a sheathing first, and I'll show you some pictures of that as well as we go through. But we don't, on the outside of the building, put cement board directly to the studs. And the reason for that is, although you would think it's structural, it is not. It does not. It's somewhere between drywall and plywood, but not good enough to be on its own. And that was the issue back in the 80s. USG, with their Duroc problem, sold a lot of this. Duroc problem. Had building movement, and they had a lot of pops. They actually pulled out of the business for a while. They have it now, but we don't see them promoting it at all. It's really now being promoted because we have a sheathing, and we can put our cement board on top of that, and we've got a polymer modified adhesive to stick our stones.
So it comes in 4x8 sheets as well as 3x5?
4x8 for the outside, that's what you'd want.
Okay.
Yep.
And we sell a lot of 3x5 in the residential market too.
Okay.
So round skirting, and so either the 4x8 or 3x5 that has a warranty.
So here's more of a residential. Here are all our steps. So we have our studs, sheathing, obviously. In this case, we're putting the air and moisture barrier. I'm going to be generic with this. It's a weather barrier. Okay, well, you have different choices for that, but we're showing a roller applied one. Cement board, and then adhering the stone right to the cement board. Laticrete, we're just going to show you a little bit different. Everything's the same except the air moisture barrier goes on top of the cement board, not behind it. So they're unique in that they want it on top. It's their product, so it's obviously compatible with their polymer modified adhesive. And it is a structural air barrier, so it can hold the weight. But that, look, I mean, that's it. That's all there is to these steps. Obviously, there's detailing, but it's just not a whole lot to it.
Just also, for exterior, you need a 4-inch tape. For interior, you can use a 2-inch tape. And the stone yard stocks the tape, both 4 and 2-inch tape.
And just embed the tape with the polymer modified adhesive. More of a commercial application, if you got involved with that, with the fiberglass matte sheathing that we see, the different colors out there, as the big commercial buildings have a yellow or purple. We prefer purple, that's kind of our company's color, right? But purple, same application, just more of a commercial. So metal studs, exterior sheathing, cement board, and this would be the Laticrete air and mortar barrier, polymer modified adhesive, sticking thin stone or thin grit to it. And what's cool, I'm gonna show you a picture coming up. What's cool is you can do all these steps in the same day if you have enough people at the job. Just have them following each other down the wall. So there are other options. We just, being an AIE presentation, I know I don't need to be AA with you all, but being an AIE presentation, we kind of show options that you have. So we just wanted to show the spray applied or trowel applied or roller applied materials. Several manufacturers of those is an option for the weather barrier. You can use the building wraps. It's certainly an option. You're not going to get the long-term warranties with those. So we have to be. If you want a warranty from the various manufacturers of the polymer modifieds, they really want you to use their specific air and moisture barriers. This is what we'll do. So this is what you'll see downstairs on the cement board. It is a two-coat process. It's a 3/8" nap roller, I believe, and a roller apply it on. Wait 2 hours, provided the weather's okay like today. Wait 2 hours. Come back, roller it the other direction. Wait 2 hours, and then you can start sticking stone right to it. So you can do everything in the same day, provided the weather's good. And I'm going to let Lath Creek dig a little bit deeper. That's their product, so tomorrow, or just a little bit later, they'll do that. I offer this. There are some architectural firms as well as clients or owners that do want the peel and stick membranes. These are kind of like the Cadillacs of the systems where you peel and stick and they're very soft, but you can do those as well. So it is an option if you ran into a client that says, hey, I want to peel and stick for my weather barrier. Well, you can do that. We just put the cement board on top. So the cement board again replaces the lath and scratch, so it's a quicker installation. We're really saving you time. You're speeding up your construction, and again, not dependent on cold temperatures or warm temperatures. So in the winter, the spring, the fall, you can work at 6:37 in the morning. Right? You couldn't do that with traditional stuff. You'd have to wait till the middle of the day when it got warm enough. Or tent your house or building. Who wants to do that? I'm going to skip the code stuff for now. I will talk about codes though at the end. It is important. All right, now the pictures, which are more fun. So this is one building, same sheathing. So it's got a regular sheathing and then the cement board on top of it for the entire building. But we have stucco in the middle, we have stone, and there's some brick on that as well. So the architect in this case just designed the look they wanted, but they had the same cement board for the whole thing. So this can apply residentially, cement board the whole thing. And we just pretend that's a house, and you can do things like that with it as well.
Let me just add, one nice feature about this job is look at how clean the job site is with the board. There's not a lot of cement running, laying there.
You don't have to worry about OSHA runoff and all of that from mixers. There is a curved cement board product out in the marketplace, a 1/2" PermaBase Flex. It is unique to us. We're the only manufacturers of it, but it gives you some design flexibility. As you can see, this is a commercial job, but we use this residentially all the time. It will actually bend around a 5-gallon bucket if you wanted to. I mean, that's a tight bend, but you have a lot of studs really close together to do it, but you can do that. More often the case, we do archways and things like that, and it's just a neat product to give you some flexibility with your design. And we got some good pictures we'll show in a few seconds of some interior stuff with it. From a commercial aspect, you're going to see some of that, obviously, because I do call on commercial architects, but this is a large project that we did, and it was all about durability. They wanted the look of stone. They didn't want to pay for full stone, but they wanted the durability, so they went with the cement board stone masonry veneer system. So protects that. This project, my favorite picture of the presentation, because this is in Greensboro, North Carolina, and what they're done here, this is going to be eventually about 3 million square feet. They're doing it phases over years, and as you can see in the picture, the air and moisture barrier has already been applied. And now the guys are sticking it. They could have done this in the morning, and now they're following them up and sticking the stone. The curb is right here, so they have very little room on their job site. And the biggest thing taking up room here is the boxes. Flatbed pulls up, unload the cement board, start hanging it right away.
How long can the air and water barrier be applied ahead of time?
Up to 4 hours.
2 or 3 months, 6 months?
For as far as exposure, before you stick it, great question. Let's ask our expert downstairs.
He'll give it downstairs.
It's somewhere in that range that you just said.
Yeah, I can't remember. That's all I was just trying clarification.
Yeah, I think it is 3 months, but we'll ask. 15 pounds per square foot maximum weight. So don't let your homeowners or your clients pick something heavier than that, okay? 15 pounds. We can hang heavier stuff. It's not a problem, but for code, it is a problem, okay? So it has to be 15 pounds a square foot or less for now. We're working with the codes, but it takes forever. I mean, we've been working the last 18 months and still haven't gotten where we need to be. On the inside, you can go 25 pounds per square foot because now we're putting the cement board directly to the studs, don't need a sheathing inside the building, and there's no air and moisture barrier either. So we're just sticking the stone directly to the cement board so you can go 25 pounds per square foot. So this is that bendable cement board again. So kind of cool features that you can do with the barreled ceiling with the thin stone, thin brick in this case. I believe that's a restaurant or something, wine cellar in a restaurant. A lot of words on this slide. I've only got 2 slides like this, I promise you. But what this basically is saying is we hired a mason contractor, 3 guys, and we had them in Maryland come in January to a warehouse where we built a house inside the warehouse. So temperature controlled at 70 degrees. Guys were loving it because it was 20 degrees outdoors and we're paying them to, play house, basically. We asked them to, both sides of the house identical as far as square footage and features, windows, sizes, placement, everything's identical. We said, you guys are masons, you're used to doing the old traditional way of thin stone. Do that on this side. We're gonna give you some instructions on how to do the cement board one, and we want you to do it on the other side. So it took a whole week, Monday to Friday, between the 2 sides. And we had somebody that we hired, we weren't allowed to help them, but hired to watch and make notes on a computer on how long it took to do what. They took all of that data back in. I mean, this girl was literally every 3 minutes plugging in how far each guy was getting on this thing. Imagine doing that for an entire week, but she did. And here's what we came up with. 35% less time to install cement board than lath and scratch. That makes sense, right? It's just a 4x8 sheet flying. You're going quick through it. 20% less time to install the polymer modified mortar versus the masonry because we're just mixing it with water, which you'll see downstairs shortly. That's it. There's no other ingredients that we need to mix. We walked inside the house. It was just a shell, so there's nothing, there's no interior walls or anything, just supports to keep it up. And inside, we could see the interior and the exterior walls with all the penetrations coming through from the one side that had the 15-pound felt times 2 layers, and then the lath with all the fasteners coming through. So we had somebody count them. And they came up with 4,300 penetrations and 275 square feet. Now, weather barriers are supposed to be designed for that, but really, that's a lot of penetrations in your weather barrier in case moisture gets back there. On our side of the board with the cement board, 550 fasteners. So significantly less. And $1 a square foot cheaper overall. So it was 35% faster, which is money, and $1 a square foot cheaper as far as time and labor and material. So that's money, either way. We were hoping to be a little more than that, but these guys were brand new to the cement board stucco part of it. We figured they'd do a couple jobs, get the hang of hanging it. It'd probably speed it up a little bit more, we'd save a little bit more money. So we're happy with those results. This is 2 years ago. So that's it. I mean, it's for the masonry veneer. Let me highlight stucco because you might run into some stucco or at least on your projects. And you'll see this will go pretty quick because it's all the same steps. It's just a different exterior that we're putting on the cement board. So traditional stucco is a 3-coat stucco. The picture's wrong. I keep forgetting to edit that picture. Ignore the picture upper right. It's a 3-coat stucco that you have to wait a few hours, days between each layer so that it becomes hard and cures properly, right? You have to have control joints every 144 square feet because the stuff cracks. It just does. Stucco cracks, right? So we have to allow for that. More often the case, we see 1-coat stucco. It's also called hard coat stucco. There's a couple other generic names for it out there, but it's everything traditional is, except we eliminate the middle step. Base coat, let it cure for 72 hours, put a finish coat on and go home. So it's a quick, easy, cheap stucco look. But again, it's got to be detailed properly and you have to have control joints. Buildings move, houses move. I live in Pennsylvania. There are lawsuits up and down everywhere in Pennsylvania right now. Toll Brothers is involved. Because they didn't put any control joints on their houses. They didn't do it at the floor lines, they didn't do it when the garage doors are going up, and it's cracking everywhere.
Is there situations where an air and water barrier from latticrete might be used before stucco is applied, or not?
Yes, but it's not going to be theirs. It's going to be the stucco manufacturers. It's going to be the Synergies or the Stows who make the EIFS. So exterior insulation and finish system is much closer to what I'm going to talk to you about with the cement board stucco. It's sheathing, it's a moisture barrier like the Laticrete, but it won't be that because you get a warranty on these systems. So it's going to be the EIFS manufacturer. That's the drive-it, stow, Synergy, Thurowall. I'm probably missing somebody in this market, but that sell the exterior insulation finish system. They're the ones that actually sell the cement board stucco as well. So it's the same company that do this and warrant both systems. Now, they are EIFS manufacturers. So you go on their website, it's all about exterior insulation finish system. You got to go all the way to the bottom right corner of their website to find the cement board stucco. But it's there on each one of those manufacturers. So it's all about durability. We can bounce golf balls over this stuff. You can't bounce golf balls, baseballs, equipment off of the wall here. You're going to dent it because of the foam. So now the energy code does require at least commercially foam on the outside of the building. So that's the advantage they have there, but we'll talk about that in a second, how to use cement board with the foam as well. So a blow up of all the steps. Sheathing, this would be more commercial. If it's residential, it'd be plywood or OSB. Cement board attached through everything into the studs. Okay, then we treat the joints of the cement board with the 4-inch wide tape that's provided by the EIFS manufacturers. They sell that as well. Base coat from the EIFS manufacturers mixed up on the job site and applied with a 4-ounce mesh everywhere, and then finish coat. And you can any color you want. I mean, they'll tint. The dealers that sell this stuff can tint it to any color. So they can match a swatch just like if you went to Lowe's or Home Depot.
What are you using for fasteners on the cement board itself?
There's true fast screws. If you call them up and tell them what you're doing with it, they'll tell you what screw you need.
We do have standard screws
Yeah.
for standard applications, both
Okay.
for metal and for wood.
Right,
It's really, we said corrosion resistant screws, right?
right.
That's what we said. We don't sell the screws.
Actually, we do sell
Oh,
the screws.
do we?
Yeah, we do sell.
We sell screws.
Yeah, we do
Who
sell.
knew?
And the stone yard does stock our screws, so we're in good shape there.
Some of the things you can do with the stucco, just like you can do with EIFS, is coins, shapes, foam shapes, where you adhere it around the windows, window surrounds, embed it with base coat and finish coat. So you can do all that with these systems as well. Kind of cool, decorative type stuff that's out there. So quick and easy to install, just like the masonry veneer system. All the components are the same until you get to what we're sticking to the cement board. And if it's going to have stone down here, everything was the same here, so it's just nice. It's just you get everything up, the cement board can be exposed for a while, and you just start adhering to it. Pictures are better than anything else. Clean job site. We're code approved up to 4 stories of the masonry veneer. You can go higher with the stucco because it doesn't weigh anything. Within masonry veneer, you can go up 4 stories. If you're going to go above 4 stories with it, we do want an engineer to verify the building can handle the weight. Big project in Canada, a couple million square feet of the cement board stucco as well as cement board masonry veneer. And this is all about durability. Took the picture in the summertime, but this is a ski resort. And they rent, obviously, these units by the weekends or weeks, and they were concerned about abuse. People with skis on their shoulders, whatever. When you rent, you tend not to take quite as good a care of it as if you had owned it, so they wanted some durable systems in there. Golf course. You do work on a golf course. Golf balls are going to hit it, depending, of course, where the house is on the golf course. I used to live on a golf course. I was in a townhouse at the end unit, and I was about 120 yards down from a tee box for a par 4, which means I got hit all the time. All the time I got hit. Fortunately, the place I was there replaced windows when they go. From a commercial application, we have called on Yum Brands as well as McDonald's. We're down at Disney in Florida in a couple weeks to talk about all of this as well. And I say that just so you get a comfortable feeling that, hey, look, commercially, architects are jumping on board with this as well. What Taco Bell and McDonald's do is every 10 to 15 years, they revamp their stores. McDonald's has just gone through the process countrywide. If you go to a McDonald's, it's totally different than it was 5 years ago, unless it was one of the original stores. They do keep the original ones original. But they totally revamped it with the cement board stucco and cement board masonry veneer on the bottom. Starbucks is going that way now, as well as Pizza Hut, lots of Yum brands. Anybody that's a Yum brand, they're all doing it because it's simple, it's quick, and it's easy to demo. Awesome. So 15 years down the road, this is really easy to get back off. It's not full stone, full brick, whatever. It's it's an easy demo for them as well. So they looked at all of those things and said, hey, this is what we want, and then with the stucco, they can match their trademarked colors with the stucco, so. Just to give you a general idea. So we use this slide everywhere in the country. You all know better than I do on some of these things because this is what you all do for a living. But full brick depends on what brick you pick, and all those kinds of fun things. Full stone depends on, of course, the stone. EIFS is in a range of about $6 to $8. Cement board stucco that we just talked about in that $475 to $650 range. Traditional stucco, 6 to 8. The traditional 3-coat stucco would be the 6 to 8. So what we're saying is we're not throwing. This is not more expensive than anything that would be standard. Okay, we're going to save you a little bit of money on labor.
What we generally say when I'm doing architectural presentations is 20 for the stone, but 30 for the install. I know these numbers are, in below 10 a square foot. I'm just saying, stone is still more involved because of the trimming of the stone to get them to fit closely. They're not all predetermined bricks that you just put out one at a time.
So you say how much then?
About 30.
$30?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's in the Northeast. It's interesting as you move further south, definitely south of DC. These numbers start to reapply. $12.50 a square foot for stone.
When I show this in New York City, they fall out of their chairs and laugh.
Right.
You all.
Because in New York, it's probably closer to 50 instead of 30. Yeah.
So, okay, good to know, actually. Because I can verbally say that, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Dave. So, real quick on the codes and we're done. So I just want to mention them to you so that you're comfortable that nobody's going to come onto your job site and say, hey, that's not per code, you got to rip it all down. Not going to happen, okay? We got you covered. All the way through the 2018 code. I don't know what codes are being enforced here in this area, but we're covered regardless of what it is. We've got ASTM standards, which matter to building inspectors as well as architects. So we've got standards for all of the stuff I just showed you, both product standards as well as what we call ICC acceptance criteria. That's the testing we do for salt spray. So if you have a job on the coast, you can do it. Freeze thaw, cycling, you have to test for that, heat, and all kinds of fun things. So all of that has been tested and approved. There's some, what we call NFPA 285 fire testing. That is one building catching fire and the flames and the sparks going over to the next one and catching that on fire. We pass all of that as well. So there's nobody that can deny us on a job site. Well, they can try, but they ain't gonna. I mean, we've got the paperwork for it. So again, ASTM standards for the masonry veneer installation. I have base specifications for it along with Laticrete. So I have, if you need an actual full spec to show an architect that you're working with, I have that. That would be a basis of design spec with the Laticrete system. Masonry Contractors National Contract, what is the N? National Contract Masonry Association? No.
National Concrete.
That's it, concrete. Yeah, thank you. Masonry Association, they just changed their logo. So now this is the manufactured stone veneer. That's new. We just had to update our slides because of that. Up until July of last year, we were not in the book, their standard installation book. As of the 5th edition, we are. So these systems are now approved. The masonry veneer is now approved both interior as well as exterior. So we've got the association on board, okay? That took a while, but we did it. It's always best to end with pictures. You'll see that's more than 4 stories, right? So you can do it for sure. Stone, brick, and stucco. Cement board's also approved for exterior. Wood stud fire rated wall, if you need that for a light commercial job or whatever you might run into. We have just shown you one. There's plenty of them out there. So if an architect asks, we can help you out. So do you all have to put insulation on the outside of your projects, or is everything in the studs?
Outside sometimes.
Outside sometimes. So what we've got is, I'm going to skip all of this. There's various ways to meet the energy code. So when I'm in front of an architectural building, you can load up the roof of a commercial building. You can spend a lot of money on windows to meet the code. But let's assume we need to put the insulation on the outside. How are we going to actually do that? We put the insulation out, whatever you specify or whatever you buy. You put the cement board on top of that, and then we drive a fastener through everything into the stud. So that's how we would attach an 1.5 to 2 inch traditionally installation. This is a true fast chart. There are other manufacturers as well, but this just happens to be true fast. And what you do is you figure out your studs, your spacing, the weight you're hanging, and they'll tell you what fastener and what length. you need for the project. But a way to actually speed things up a little bit is this is brand new for us. You want to pass that so they can see it? This is now a board that we sell that has the insulation attached to the cement board already. So this is brand new this year. Code approved. We're good to go. We got all the stuff. So now all you got to do is you put up your primary sheathing, your plywood or whatever, and then you're going to actually put this on top of it. If it's latticrete, you're going to put this right on top of the sheathing with one fastener 8 inches on center. And again, I have the fastener recommendations for you. And then you're going to put the air and water barrier for latticrete on top of that, and your thin stone with the polymer modified adhesive, and you're done. Really quick and easy to get it. It's R10 Polyiso insulation, so it's pretty standard for that. It's, to be technical, it is a closed cell, so it can handle some moisture. Although we don't want moisture there, but it can handle it a little bit. Brand new product comes 4x8 only, right? Sheets 4x8 sheets.
4x8, 2 inches. What's nice about the R10, I think up here north, Tony, if I'm not mistaken, it's an R7, 7.5. So we exceed the architects. Once you talk to them about R10 value, there's some value to that.
So I'll end it with all the steps for the continuous insulation right here, more residential application. If it's not latticrete, they'll put the air moisture barrier on top of the plywood. Put the our PermaBase CI, we call it, for continuous insulation, fastener all the way through it, and then we adhere our stone. That would be the commercial application. And I have another picture I want to show you. I have this in writing, so this is the recommendations for fasteners for the continuous insulation product, the PermaBase CI. I will end on this one. So this is Dave's swimming pool on the left.
Yeah,
His house.
that's my summer home.
It's actually got a veneer plaster on it. It's kind of cool. So that we sell plaster up in this market. We sell some veneer plaster. All kinds of fun things you can do. Dave knows it. You know a little bit more about the one on the right there.
Yeah, that job there is in Allentown, the Hamilton restaurant. There was actually 8-barrel ceilings. Dugan Marcon did the job. What's interesting is when I would visit the job site, they took the PermaBase, they installed the 8 ceilings in one day. That's a 4x8 sheet. So can you imagine the labor what they saved on that? And then they bricked it. Gorgeous job.
What different sizes do
Well, up north, 4x8.
Okay.
There is a 3x6 available, but it's made at a different factory and because of freight and that. If you buy a truckload, I can get it to you, but usually, so it's a 4x8.
Yeah, perfect.
So the one last thing I will promote to you all is our tech department, our 3 guys that sit behind the phone of 800 National. That's not the sales line. That is our technical line. Can't forget that. And we've got Mark has been with us 38 years, does a lot of our fire testing. Jim was a general contractor, worked for the largest general contractor in Charlotte, so he's got the field experience from commercial. And Sam was an architect. He didn't keep his license now, but he is an architect. And when you call that number, one of those 3 actually answer the phone. There's no receptionist. If you get voicemail, leave it. They are very good at calling back within a couple hours, unless it's very end of the day. So I use them every day because I get emails every day from architects asking about specific issues they have on a specific job. We can draw things on a blueprint, but you get out, as you know, you get out to the job site, things don't match up perfectly. So we've got the technical help behind you. We have it here at Stoneyard, we have us, and then we have these guys to back up everybody. So with that, any questions that you want to ask here? Because I'm done. That was it. That's it. Pretty straightforward. Not a lot of steps. We have details. We're working on a detailed book for windows, for pipes coming through, for electrical stuff on the outside of the buildings. So all of those will be available very shortly on how to do all of that with the continuous insulation. We have it without it already, but with the continuous insulation, it changes things a little bit. So
I just want to add too, the Stoneyard does stock the PermaBase. They do stock all the latticrete and MVIS. Also, the CI board is readily available. So if you get a job or something, we can have it for you in about a week to 10 days.